We are back. We're back now with another segment on Immigration Update on the Air with Attorney Golan. Attorney Golan, let's discuss about the parole visa for the World War II veterans. There's a lot of interest about it, and could you give us the latest news on that particular issue?
Okay, this program was announced sometime in 2015, but its implementation began only in June 2016. The actual regulations were published in June 2016. This program reads very nicely, but it is very doubtful how many people can benefit from it, because don't forget, we are dealing here with giving a benefit to relatives of people who must be in their 90s or in their 100s by this time. Filipino veterans of World War II should be now, if they are still alive, maybe in their 90s or at the late 80s. The war ended in 1945, which is about 70 years ago, more than 70 years ago. In any event, what this program is, it says if a Filipino veteran, if you are a relative, let's say that differently, if you are a relative of a Filipino veteran, and you have an approved family-based petition, which was filed on your behalf either by the veteran or by the spouse of the veteran. Okay? So which means even if you were petitioned not by the veteran himself, but by his widow.
Right.
Okay? And if you have an approved petition, which by the very nature of such petitions subject you to a very long waiting list, you are able now to apply for a parole visa to permit you to come to the United States and to help the veteran or his surviving spouse in their present situation, because most of them probably need some kind of family help in their later years now. So what you need to do, what is necessary here is to show that you are a relative of such a veteran, and the veteran to remind you, I suspect you are too young to know it, when we were doing citizenship for Filipino veterans, it was very difficult to prove that somebody was a veteran, because lots of people showed up and claimed that they were at least, if not actual members of the USAF, the United States Armed Forces in the Far East, that they were at least the members of a guerrilla unit. So it was very not so easy to prove that somebody was a veteran. And if you can prove that you are a relative of a veteran, and that you have an approved family-based petition by the veteran or by the spouse of the veteran, and if this petition is still not current, you still have to wait, and you need to come here to be of assistance to either the veteran or the spouse of the veteran, then you can file an application for a travel document with the American consul in Manila. The consul will interview you and make a decision if it is correct, if it is proper necessary to issue you a parole visa to come to the U.S. and wait in the U.S. until your visa number becomes available.
I see.
This is lots of requirements, and it's difficult to estimate how many people will actually be able to enjoy those benefits.
Can that individual also apply for employment when he or she gets to the United States?
Also apply for what?
Employment.
Yes, they will be given an employment permit.
I see. Now, what happens, Attorney Golan, when they have a petition based on one of the parents alone? And if, for example, because I get a lot of questions like this, like the petition was filed by their father, but not by the mother. However, the father died, and now the mother is left alone. Can the mother still file a petition or can take over that old petition by the dad?
Well, there is something unclear in the regulations. It seems that such beneficiaries will be eligible for the parole visa to come here based on the petition by the dead father to be able to assist the surviving widow. However, since the petition is already expired, is already revoked by the death of the father,
yes,
they will be able to make an application in the U.S. for reinstatement of that petition.
Oh.
There is a procedure for the reinstatement of that petition on humanitarian grounds if there is this surviving spouse who needs their help.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a convoluted procedure. It's a convoluted system. Not everything is completely clear, and we don't really know how benevolent or liberal the American consul in Manila will be in granting those parole visas. Everything is a matter of discretion, and the whole procedure will be quite expensive because it will be necessary to pay a filing fee for the application for parole visa for each one of the family members. So I really don't know how useful this whole program is. As I mentioned, it reads very nicely when you read the
right.
announcement, and it pays tribute to the contribution of Filipino veterans. How useful it is in 2016, I don't know. They should have published this program in 1996, would have been much more useful.
Right. And of course, Attorney Golan, we can't help but receive a lot of inquiries. When they mention something like a parole visa, somebody would be able to come here on the basis of a petition by an ailing father maybe, and whose approval is still pending. They always ask the question, can we also be joined by our family members in that particular parole visa? Is that a possibility?
If it is a parole visa for a relative of Filipino veteran of World War II, the answer is yes.
Oh.
If it is any other parole visa, the answer is no.
Wow, so that means that the spouse of that individual, together with the children below 21, can join.
All of them. If there is, let's say, if there is a son of this very elderly veteran, and the son has a wife and 6 children, they all can receive those parole visa and come together to help their elderly father or grandfather until the visa number becomes available.
Wow, that's really a good one.
Of course, they will need to file 6 applications for parole visas.
Wow, and that could be costly, and I'm sure right now we don't have the numbers yet of people that have been successful in taking advantage of this because it's too soon, right?
It's much too soon.
Yes. Thank you so much. We're listening to Attorney Golan on Immigration Update on the Air. We'll be back with more.